Brendan Dassey trial transcript, day 6, continuing on page 70. The state rests and the defense introduces Kris Schoenenberger-Gross as its first witness. The clerk, please raise your right hand. Kris Schoenenberger-Gross, called as a witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. The clerk, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness, Kris Schoenenberger-Gross, Schoenenberger-Gross Direct examination by Attorney Freeman. Ms. Gross, if you could just pull the microphone a little closer to you, thank you. Where do you work? Mishicot School District. And how long have you been with the Mishicot School District? This is my 9th year. In what capacity do you work at the Mishicot School District? I'm the school psychologist and the coordinator of alternative services, which includes the special education coordinator responsibilities. In the capacity as the school counselor, are you familiar with Brendan Dassey? Yes. Now, first of all, without going into specifics, how do you know Brendan Dassey? I know him as a student at Mishicot High School and as a student whom I evaluated. Generally, in the course of your responsibilities with the Mishicot School District, do you maintain or compile records pertaining to each student? Yes. And not just students that maybe you're involved with, all the students in the Mishicot School District, correct? Correct. And those are maintained at the school district itself? Yes. And these type of records would include, for instance, class schedule, grades, evaluations, IEPs? Correct. Among other things, possibly? Correct. In your capacity as the school counselor, do you have access to these records? Yes. And you have an opportunity at times to review the records? Yes. Now, in your capacity and in your position as school counselor with the Mishicot School District, had you in fact had access to the records of Brendan Dassey? Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked as an exhibit. Does it indicate that that's been marked as Exhibit 217? Yes. And can you tell us what that is? This is a compilation of Brendan's records, and you brought that to court today, correct? Correct. So do you believe that that's a true and accurate copy of the records from the Mishicot School District that you've had access to? Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 218. I'll leave this here in case you need to. Okay, refer to it. It is, again, this is marked as Exhibit 218, correct? Correct. Now, did this appear to be a record, for instance, that we've been talking about, records kept in the normal course of the school district activities? Yes. And specifically, this is a record of Brendan Dassey, correct? Correct. Can you tell us what this is? This is a copy of Brendan's most recent IEP, Individualized Education Program, which contains the goals that he was working on, services that were provided through his special education programming. I want to ask you, if you could refer to page, I believe it's listed as either it's 1.11 or I-11, and do you see that? You have to, yes, answer yes, yes. And this is part of that first IEP, correct? Correct. And I shouldn't say first, it's actually dated September 29, 2005, correct? Correct. Could you refer to the last paragraph on that page? Do you see where it starts? Present level of education performance, and there seems to be an unhighlighted or bold section and a bold section, correct? Correct. Now the section that's not bold, is that just the standard form itself? Correct. And then the bold section is added to it by an evaluator or someone else from the school, correct? Correct. And if you could just look down to where it starts, speech/language, you see where that is? Yes. Could you read from that? He exhibits difficulty responding clearly and concisely to others. Paragraph comprehension, defining vocabulary, and understanding age-appropriate vocabulary terms remains challenging. Brendan will occasionally ask questions when he is unsure. However, eye contact and participation during discussions with adults and peers is limited. Brendan's memory, specifically, is affecting all areas of language. And actually, just to be clear, the word discussion is actually misspelled, correct? Correct. Okay, and again, that's just simply a summary of present level of educational performance, or part of the summary? Correct. Okay, I'm now going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 219. And again, do you recognize that document? Yes. Again, is that something that's from the full record before you in Exhibit 217? Yes, it is. That's just one item taken from that larger group of documents, correct? Correct. Again, kept at the school district? Correct. And you can tell us what this Exhibit 219 is? This is the evaluation summary pages from the re-evaluation, which was conducted in September of 2005. So this is one report used to generate the progress report that we've just discussed, the IEP? Correct. And ask you to refer to, I believe it's on the first page, page 1.5. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, and there's some handwritten notes under the section, looks like a form section. It says to guide this analysis, you see that? Yes. Okay, can you read the handwriting? I know I don't, yes. No, okay. Can you read what that states? Brendan continues to demonstrate delays in his basic reading comprehension, and language skills, both receptively and expressively. Brendan needs specialized instruction which the regular education environment alone does not provide. He needs special education services and supports to help him be successful in school and to help meet his needs. Thank you. And if I ask you to refer then to page, again, I don't know if it's 1.3 or I.3 of that same exhibit, Exhibit 219, do you see that? Yes. And under E, again, this is part of that same evaluation report. Is that correct? Correct. And again, there's some handwriting on this form as well? Correct. And under E, where it indicates observations by teachers or related service providers? Yes. Could you read the handwritten comments? Uses minimal eye contact, gestures, and a variation of pitch in conversations in therapy and in the classroom. Willingly participates in speech and language therapy sessions. I'm now going to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 220. And do you recognize this document? Yes. Again, is this form from that larger compilation of school records? Yes. And what is this specific document? This is an evaluation report that was completed by the speech and language pathologist. So this is specifically in regards to speech and language, correct? Correct. If I can ask you to refer to page 3 of that document, and before I do so, I'm sorry, if I can have you go back to the first page, it's not actually dated with a specific date, is it? No, there are two dates. Two dates. So the evaluation went from September 22 and 27th of 05? Correct. And again, back to page 3 under paragraph 6, discussion and summary. There appears to be the summary of the evaluation, correct? Correct. Could you read that, please? Overall, Brendan demonstrates significantly delayed receptive and expressive language skills, memory, short-term memory, immediate memory, and working memory, vocabulary, sentence comprehension, pragmatics, and areas of abstract language, for example, idioms. Brendan's language standard scores range from 58 to 83, with an overall language score of 66. Brendan's strengths are in his willingness to participate in speech therapy, knowledge of familiar sequences, and his articulation skills. This information will be shared with the IEP team. And again, these are all records that are normally kept at the school district? Correct. And you have access to? Yes. And have you reviewed as well at times? Yes. I'm now going to show you Exhibit 221, and though the questioning may sound repetitive again, this also appears to be a separate document from that compilation you exhibit before you? Correct. Can you indicate what that document is? This is the IEP document dated October 12, 2004. Similar to the one that you described in Exhibit 218 from September 29, 2005? Similar to, it does not include evaluation. Okay, results. And again, if I could ask you to refer to whether it's page I-11 or 1.11, Attorney Kratz, Judge, if I may interpose an objection, we've heard about Brendan's educational programming close to this event, that is in the fall of 2005. I don't know how going back several years is at all relevant to any material fact that this jury has to decide. That is how Brendan may have done in school in 9th grade or 8th grade or 4th grade. I don't think really has any relevance to this case. The court, I think this is from October 1 of 2004? Attorney Kratz, yes. The court, so that would be a year prior, correct? Attorney Kratz, it looks like they're going backwards. The court, well, I'm cognizant of moving backwards here. Are we going back? Are you proposing to go back further than this? Attorney Freeman, I have two more. I guess given the historical background, and if state wants to agree that the information will be similar to what the information is from Exhibit 218, 219, and 220, I have no problem ending at this point. The court, any response? Attorney Kratz, I want to know how it is. The court, well, Attorney Kratz, relevant to or material issue of this case, Judge. The court, well, I think it certainly has some relevance. I'll overrule your objection. I'll permit the testimony with respect to 2004. Beyond that, I think we do. I think we're simply going to be replicating what has already been testified to. So with that said, you may go ahead. Attorney Freeman, okay. And again, I'm referring to you on page I.11 or 1.11. Yes. There is a handwritten note on the form as well. Correct. Okay, bear with me. I just lost my place. The last sentence of that handwritten paragraph, starting with Brendan will occasionally. Can you read from there? Brendan will occasionally ask questions when he is unsure. However, eye contact and participation during discussions with adults and peers is limited. So again, pretty similar to the previous or the September 05 IEP. Correct. I just have one more exhibit. Exhibit number 224 marked for identification. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 2. Attorney Kratz, just a minute. Could you, Attorney Freeman, what's been marked as Exhibit 224? And again, would that also appear to be one of the pages or documents that is kept in that compilation exhibit before you? Correct. And this is from September 16, 05? Correct. These are, what specifically is this document? This is a document that one of Brendan's regular education teachers completed to provide observations about how he performs in the classroom, how he processes information based on that person's observations. Can you turn to the second page of that document? And if you could read from that highlighted section. Brendan is expressionless, no facial expression, seemingly blank stare, possibly indicating daydreaming. Thank you. Attorney Freeman, thank you, Judge. I have no other questions. The court, cross-examination by Attorney Kratz. Ms. Schoenenberger-Gross, as a school psychologist, are you educated to the point where you have a PhD? No. Attorney Freeman, Judge, can we approach the court? Sure. Attorney Freeman, discussion off the record. By Attorney Kratz, I think we left off with your educational background. Could you just tell us what that is, please? I have a Master's of Science in Education in the area of school psychology. All right, and usually when we hear the term psychologist, aren't we normally hearing from people with a more advanced degree, a doctorate, a PhD, or something like that? Correct? How is it then that you have obtained the title psychologist? Well, school psychologist specifically, which I'm able to obtain with a master's degree, but my position and training is in evaluating students, interpreting evaluation results, conducting observations, interviews, through these special education progress programs, and trying to help determine appropriate programming for students. And it's within that academic arena that you're able not only to review just records, but you're able to form some opinions. And in fact, you've been asked to do this in the past in this very case, haven't you? Correct. Mr. Freeman provided you a very large binder of materials, Exhibit 217. Those are the school records. Have you had the opportunity in a rather detailed way to review Brendan's prior school records? Yes, I have. And not only have you reviewed those records, but you have yourself, that is, as the school psychologist, performed some testing, performed some examinations, and certainly interviewed Brendan in the past. Isn't that correct? Correct. When determining the appropriate programming for any student, especially students who are at least under the broad umbrella of special education, it falls upon you to do that testing. Is that right? Correct. Let's talk about Brendan's educational program. First of all, it's true, is it not, that Brendan was in regular classes at Mishicot? Yes. So he wasn't the kind of student that you would consider to be cognitively disabled. Do you know what I mean by that term, don't you? Yes. Was he the kind of student that your school district considered cognitively disabled? No. And although getting some special classes in speech or language, Brendan pretty much was a normal kid. That is, went through normal classes in Mishicot. Is that right? Yes. During your examinations of Brendan, do you recall providing Brendan with various tests that are tests that you could assess Brendan's general IQ level? Yes.